Okay, hello, it's time for a very helpful tutorial. So my machine obviously looks a lot different than yours does, but most of them are set up pretty similarly. I know you were looking for the reverse option. Most machines have this little pedal here that you hold down to make it reverse stitch. I don't know if yours has one like that. I honestly looked for a long time for a manual and I could not find one for that particular machine, so sorry. For most of the dials, this one, as you can see, is just different kinds of stitches. The only ones I ever use are straight stitch and zigzag. Zigzag is for stuff that needs to be a little more heavy duty, needs to be held together a little bit more securely. So usually there's a dial with numbers showing which ones are which. This is how thick your stitches are. You can see the little lines on mine here. I usually have mine on 2 or 3, but it doesn't usually make a difference. Just try not to make it too big or it's going to be super noticeable. This one is, if you use zigzag, how far apart your zigzags are. And then this one is how far apart your stitches are. I usually just keep that at about 1.5 or 2. Mine is already threaded and ready to go, which you said you knew how to do, so hopefully that's all good. I'm going to try to get you set up so you can see me do a couple of examples here. So the two basic types that I usually do are I will take a pattern like this. I'll have it on 2 different pieces. I will literally just go like that on top of each other and then sew all around the design, cut out the excess and flip it out. That's for projects like paw pads or things that you would stuff. You'll do that for the tail if you want to do it that way. You can also do it this other way, but it's really whatever's easier for you. So like for your jeans, let's say this is your jean and there's the seam in the middle. So this makes a pant leg right here. So don't forget you have to have it flipped inside out or it's going to look funky. You would basically just clip this along the ends and sew it all the way down, and then flip it back outside. You should try to keep as close to the edge as possible without having it too close to where the seams slip out. If there's any excess on the end, you can just trim it off and then flip it back inside out. I'm going to film another video for me actually sewing these because there might be a limit on how long videos can be. Alright, so like I said, the method with this fabric that I was talking about is pretty straightforward. I'm not clipping this because I don't need this fabric for anything. It's literally just throwaway. You'll probably have a little lever up here somewhere that will make this little thing go up so you can put your fabric underneath. You're going to slide that wherever you want it to go. You should try to line it up with the needle, not the actual foot. And then let this down. And then that'll go all the way down like that. So when you're ready, you just kind of place your hand at a safe distance. And you're going to push your pedal down, kind of trying to hold the fabric so you can push it through as the machine sews. And then for most projects, like you were talking about the back reverse feature, you would hold that down and go backwards. You don't have to go back all the way. If you were doing it for the jeans, it might be a good idea just for extra durability, but it's really up to you. So once you're done with that, you'll find this little lever here, pop it back up. Sometimes you have to, there's usually a knob over here on the side, like this guy, that manually puts the needle up and down, like that. So you will lift that needle up, take it out, and mind the strings get caught sometimes, so I just lift it out. Try to have the strings about 1/2 foot 6 inches out before cutting, and then I only have like 1/4 of an inch extra here, so you can just flip this fabric. Let me get a better angle there. Flip this fabric inside out. Now it's all sewn together, and you can see the seam here is really nice and neat and clean. So that's the one method. All right, we're going to try this again. Bring my needle up a little bit, foot up, and line the needle up with a straight line. Down we go. Wish me luck. Does look like it's sewing properly. Bring that up and around. Okay, I think that worked. It's not going to be pretty, but it worked. So you're going to trim your threads off there. I did use a darker thread so you can see the stitching and kind of see what's going on more. So you would go to the back of this pattern that you've just cut out, or sewed. Cut it out. Pretty close to the edges. Okay. And usually what I do, like this is the method that I use for like the beans for paws. So usually what I would do for something like this that you would fill up with polyfill is just make a little incision right in the middle. I'll make it a little bit bigger. And we should be able to flip this inside out. Sometimes you have to use a pointy object to kind of get it to fold all the way out. And yeah, there's your little heart, and this is where you put the stuffing in. Then you would just sew that up with a ladder stitch that you would do by hand. I pretty much hand sew everything, including the tails. But if you want to make a tail and you want to do it quick, I would use this method. Just make sure that when you're sewing the fabric inside out, and then you'll flip it out at the end. I will send you my patterns for the tails that I use. I have a smaller one and a bigger one, and you can do with that as you wish. And if you have any more questions, you can just let me know. Bye.